what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe.
What is up, everyone? For this Supplement Saturday, I'm going to be going over the OPT model, or the Optimal Performance Training Model, that was created by NASM, the National Academy of Sports Medicine, where I am certified. Now, when it comes down to it, these are technically 3 parts, but if you look it up online, it will mention about 5 different things, but the middle is made up of 3 different things. So if you were to look it up, it technically is 3 parts, but it's made up of 5 different things. Now, the first one is the endurance. Low weight, high repetitions, or for me, I'll use low weight and slow and controlled repetitions so I can really get that mind-muscle connection developed as much as I can. And then I'll go for usually more repetitions, and then slowly try to add more power in. Like right now, I've been slowly adding in more power. But when it comes down to it, the second part, which is actually at the very made of the 3, is strength endurance. Now, strength endurance is a little bit heavier than normal endurance. Normal endurance is like 12 to 20 repetitions versus strength endurance is 8 to 12 repetitions. And technically, you can build muscle in any of these ranges, but there's certain kinds of muscle. And let's say, for example, you're doing the endurance aspect, then you will be able to develop your slow twitch muscle fibers, which are the endurance muscle fibers. You'll be able to develop them pretty good, and versus doing like 1 to 5 rep range. But I will go into the 1 to 5 rep range further in the video. Now, 8 to 12 is great for strength endurance. It will, especially on the 8 rep range, the 8 rep range is awesome for hypertrophy and good for overall strength. Now, if you move to the hypertrophy, where endurance, strength endurance, hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is technically, you have a couple studies where they can do 6 to 12. But personally, from a lean muscle development, 6 to 8 has a couple studies where they say that it's actually great for lean muscle mass, and it's actually pretty good on the strength aspect because you're using heavy weight and you're really overloading those muscles. Now, right above the hypertrophy is the maximum strength. That is usually 3 to 5 rep range. Like if you're using like 2.5 or like 2 to 5, that's perfectly fine. If you're using your 1 rep range and you're doing that for a long time, you're actually going to, 9 out of 10 burn out real quick. From a strength perspective, there's a lot of people that use 5x5 for gaining strength. They'll use 3 repetitions for 5, or they'll use 2 for 5, or something like that. And that usually helps them for the strength. But if they're going 100% every single time, they're gonna burn themselves out real quick. And if you burn yourself out, your central nervous system is gonna be, as I said, it's gonna be burnt out. Your strength, your endurance, your overall energy level is just gonna be gone. So ultimately, from a heavyweight perspective, you definitely need to do the deload weeks that I mentioned in previous posts. But that is for the maximum strength. Now, definitely for maximum strength, deload weeks. The hypertrophy area, so especially if you're doing like 6 to 8 rep range, do like a deload week. At least, not saying completely stop working out, but lower the weight and go for like some endurance and stuff like that. Give your body a little bit of rest. Give your central nervous system a little bit of a break. Then, when it comes to the top area, and just to recap, endurance, 12 to 20 repetitions. Strength endurance, 8 to 12 repetitions. Hypertrophy, 6 to 12, or I like to say 6 to 8. And then the maximum strength is around 2 to 5. I personally would recommend more 3 to 5, but if you want to do 2, that's perfectly fine too. There is a couple studies that will mention about that too. Now, the power aspect is once you get your techniques down, once you have it, then you can add some explosiveness. Then you can add that power. Like for example, if you're doing push-ups, which I have a couple of people that I was helping them with plyometric push-ups, and then they were doing plyometric push-ups with battle ropes, and they were getting them up in the air. Now, if you have it where you worked on your push-ups already, then you slowly went to plyometric push-ups with just your body weight, and then progress to add a lot more power. You can do that, but you gotta have a technique there before you start going fast and explosively, because if you don't have the technique there, you don't have that stable base, and there's a high likelihood that you're gonna end up screwing yourself up. And again, that's a lot of times due to ego. A lot of times people want to lift heavy weight as soon as possible, and then they end up injuring themselves. That's a really bad habit, which is why there's a couple gyms where they'll have a sign that says leave your ego at the door. Because ultimately, that is what a lot of gyms, if they see someone who's lifting with their ego, they try to kick them out immediately because it's a lawsuit. The likelihood of someone that's ego lifting injuring themselves is extremely high, which is why most of them, they don't want to do that. They don't want that to even happen. But I digress. Now, when it comes to the OPT model or the optimal performance training model, if you apply this to you, any exercise, work on low weight, high repetitions, or low weight, slow and controlled. Get that mind-muscle connection. Get that technique into your memory and make it second nature. Then you can progress it. If you have any questions on the OPT model, or from nutrition, or from exercising in general, or supplementation, you could always DM me on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. And stay strong.
What you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and